Okay, so here's a follow-up to the other video on removing zinc from lead. So I'm using muriatic acid, which is supposed to be hydrochloric acid. I'm not a chemist, I have no idea. It's just what I read online. This big plate here was dumped out of the Dutch oven yesterday after I removed some of the lead out of that pot I was casting with. And I put some little drops of acid on it. There is no bubbling in the acid at all, but one thing I did notice was it discolored out around where I placed the drops. I think that's kind of odd. There's obviously something in this stuff for that sulfur to attack it like I did. And then here's a little Lee ingot that I thought was pretty close to pure lead. Right there, the light spot right between the L and the E is where I placed a drop of acid there, and also one down in the E. And it, here again, no bubbling, but it did change the color of the lead, made it brighter. With this lead, these ingots have been poured for, a couple of years. And I'm pretty sure they were cast primarily out of sheet lead. And here's a piece of sheet lead that I just placed a drop on right there. And you can see no bubbling, and it really didn't do anything to the color. Made it just maybe a little bit darker, didn't brighten it at all. This is just a little piece of rolled up from the hospital from an x-ray. Something left over from an x-ray room. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, but that is odd how it darkened on this other metal that I was casting with yesterday. And there again, I was just trying to cast round balls and those big cannon bullets. And we'll go to the pot. This is what this garbage did as it cooled off. Really weird. And that's after several hits with the sulfur on it. Really kind of curdly looking on the top. These are just little sprues and whatnot that we picked up after we cast all those bullets. There's a good chunk. So yeah, pretty wild. I got no idea what's in this stuff. Let's see a good look at the end, how grainy that stuff is. It's pretty brittle. It thuds when we drop it, like lead would. It doesn't ring, but I don't know what that grainy stuff is that's in there with it. I'm gonna look at a couple of the bases on these bullets. A little hole in that one, but there's no smear, really. As Lewis talks in one of his videos about the smear from a soft bullet to a hard bullet. Well, there's a pretty good smear on that one. And I haven't tested these since I removed all that stuff out of there yesterday. There again, a pretty decent smear on that. Here's the stuff I dug out of that. bonded with the sulfur. Maybe I'll throw a little acid on that stuff to see what it does. Just for kicks and giggles. Should have been prepared for this. There again, that is not fizzing or bubbling at all. So yeah, I don't know what's in this stuff, but I'm gonna work it some more, clean it up as good as I can, and just continue to cast round balls and maybe some plinking handgun bullets out of it. To see if I can get something that'll shoot. Oh, maybe there's a little fizzing. It's really hard to see. May have a little fizzing right there in the center of the camera, around that little lump. May just be shiny from the acid too. I think it's got a little bit of fizzing going on, so it probably is zinc or something close to it that's in this stuff. So anyway, careful what you cast, I guess. And here's the sulfur powder I use. I don't know where I got this stuff on. Maybe DC Earth. I don't know if that's the name of the company I ordered it. I ordered it online, but it says it's 99% pure sulfur powder, and it smells like it when you burn it. One thing I want to caution, if any of you try that, there it is upside down. If any of you try that, make sure and stay upwind of the fumes, because the first time I threw that in there, they hit me, and it's pretty powerful stuff. It burns the sinuses pretty good, and I've read it's a poison gas when it's mixed with zinc and heat. So yeah, you want to do it well ventilated and stay upwind from it. Toss it in there, get away from it. See which way the smoke's going, and then make a move in there and stir it, I guess, if you dare. So anyway, yeah, just be careful with it. Here's a couple of the bullets that I cast with that stuff. The first time I cast with it, that I mentioned in the earlier video, you can see all that funky stuff going on there, and that one may have just been the mold a little bit cold, but I was thinking that was after a handful of bullets had been cast in the mold that it did that. I couldn't find a really bad one. I pitched these in the no idea bucket. Got a couple different buckets of stuff in there, if it's sheet lead, or you can see that big, I get it in focus here. Kind of hard to see on the nose there, that big indentation. I can't find the really, really bad bullet. I don't know what I did with that. But one of them had just a big hollow right on the nose, where you could tell that the bullet actually was hot, and the metal shrunk down there and pulled in instead of pulling in from the sprue, which was really an oddity that I've never seen before. Usually my cold bullets, the first few I pour, they'll have a good wrinkled nose, and then the ridges don't fill out, but you can see that nose right there is not really wrinkled. And I think that's a dent from being pitched into the bucket. Yeah, it's a dent. But the nose looks good on that bullet. It's not wrinkled. But yet it ended up with that kind of a mess on it. So anyway, yeah, I'll not be casting anything other than round balls and cannon bullets with that stuff. So